Welcome to Mind Set in Stone podcasts, where we dive deep into the most compelling books on the shelf. Join hosts Dave and Poppy as they uncover the stories, themes, and ideas that shape our understanding and inspire curiosity. Get ready to explore the big ideas that leave a lasting impact. Let's get started.
Hey there! Ready to unlock some serious brain power? Today's deep dive is all about NLP. And no, I don't mean natural language processing, although that's pretty cool too. We're talking neuro-linguistic programming, a way to understand how our brains make sense of the world and how to use that knowledge to achieve amazing things.
It's like having a user manual for your mind, right? NLP is about recognizing those patterns of thought and behavior that often run on autopilot and learning how to consciously rewrite them for success.
We're diving into Introducing NLP by Joseph O'Connor for this one. It's considered a classic in the field, and I have to say it's already got my mind buzzing with possibilities.
O'Connor's approach is fantastic because he takes these seemingly complex concepts and makes them practical and applicable to everyday life. It's not just theory, it's about giving you tools you can actually use.
Okay, so let's break this down. For those of us who are new to NLP, what is it at its core?
Imagine this. You want to learn how to bake the perfect sourdough bread. NLP would say, find someone who already does it brilliantly and study their process. It's about deconstructing excellence, whether that's in communication business or even personal growth.
So it's kind of like reverse engineering success, finding those hidden patterns and replicating them.
Exactly. NLP is all about understanding the how behind the wow. And the really cool thing is that this field isn't static. As we understand more about the brain, new applications and refinements are constantly being integrated into NLP. It's a field built on evolution.
That's fascinating. Now, how did all of this get started? Where did NLP come from?
Picture the 1970s. Richard Bandler and John Grinder, fascinated by human potential, began studying individuals who were exceptional communicators, like therapists Virginia Satir and Milton Erickson. They wanted to know why these individuals achieved such remarkable results.
So they were like, what's the magic formula? Let's decode it.
Exactly. What they found was that these master communicators were often unconsciously using specific patterns of language and behavior. Bandler and Grinder essentially created a system for making those unconscious patterns conscious, turning them into learnable models.
That's incredible. And it makes you realize how much of what we do well is probably happening below our awareness.
Absolutely. Another major influence on those early NLP pioneers was Gregory Bateson, an anthropologist doing groundbreaking work on communication and systems theory. His ideas really helped shape the foundation of NLP.
It's like NLP is this amazing blend of psychology, linguistics, even anthropology. It's about understanding the whole person, not just one aspect.
That's a great point. NLP isn't confined to one discipline. It's about understanding the intricate ways humans think, communicate, and interact with the world.
Okay, so we've got a bit of the history, but what are some of the core principles that make NLP so powerful? What are the big ideas?
One of the foundational ideas is the concept of filters. Think of it this way. We all experience the world through a unique lens shaped by our beliefs, experiences, and values. These filters affect what we pay attention to, how we interpret information, and ultimately how we experience reality.
So two people could witness the same event but have completely different interpretations of what happened.
Exactly. It's not about there being a right or wrong way to see things, but rather understanding that our perceptions are shaped by these filters. Another crucial NLP principle is the focus on outcomes. Instead of dwelling on problems, NLP encourages us to define what we want to achieve and then identify the steps needed to get there.
So it's about shifting from a why is this happening to me mindset to what do I want and how can I make it happen mindset.
Precisely. And that brings us to another core concept, the 4 stages of learning.
Ooh, this seems intriguing. Lay it on me.
The first stage is unconscious incompetence. This is where we don't even know what we don't know. You've never ridden a bike, so you're unaware of your lack of bike riding skills.
Yeah.
Blissful ignorance. Then we move into conscious incompetence. Now you're aware of what you don't know. You're on the bike wobbling around and acutely aware that you're a newbie. Then comes conscious competence, where you can ride but have to consciously think about each action.
You're getting the hang of it, but not quite a pro.
Exactly. Finally, there's unconscious competence. Riding that bike is automatic, effortless. NLP aims to accelerate us through these stages, giving us the tools to learn new skills and achieve our goals more effectively.
So it's about expanding our awareness of our own patterns, developing the flexibility to change those patterns, and ultimately achieving our desired outcomes.
Precisely. The more we understand about how our minds work, the more choices we have in how we think, feel, and act.
That's incredibly empowering.
Mm.
Okay, let's dig into some of the actual techniques that NLP uses to make these changes. I'm ready to get practical.
One of the most fundamental is rapport.
We hear that word a lot, but what does it really mean in the context of NLP, and why is it so important?
Imagine you're trying to have a conversation with someone while speaking different languages. Difficult, right? Building rapport is like finding a common language. It's that feeling of connection and trust that forms the foundation for effective communication and influence.
So it's not just about being nice, it's about creating a genuine connection, a sense of understanding.
Exactly. And NLP gives us specific techniques to cultivate that connection, like mirroring and matching.
Like subtly mirroring someone's body language or tone of voice. I've heard of that, but does it really work?
It does. When done subtly and respectfully, it creates an unconscious sense of, this person gets me. It's like speaking the same nonverbal language.
I can definitely see how that would make someone feel more at ease, more open to what you have to say.
Precisely. Another important aspect of rapport is pacing and leading. We first meet someone where they are acknowledging their experience, and then once rapport is established, we can gently guide them towards a more resourceful state.
So it's about meeting them in their world, building that bridge of understanding, and then from that place of connection, helping them move toward positive change.
You've got it. It's about guiding, not forcing, which is crucial for lasting change.
Okay, so rapport is key. What other NLP techniques are essential for understanding how we create our internal worlds?
Let's talk about representational systems. Have you ever noticed how some people describe experiences visually while others focus on feelings or sounds?
That's so true. I have a friend who's always saying, I can picture it perfectly, while another friend is all about the vibe.
Exactly. NLP calls these visual, kinesthetic, and auditory systems. We each have a dominant system, a way we primarily represent the world internally.
So understanding my dominant system and those of others would help me tailor my communication to be more impactful.
Absolutely. Imagine explaining a complex idea using vivid imagery to someone who's highly visual. It's going to resonate more deeply than a dry analytical explanation. It's about speaking their internal language.
That makes so much sense. I'm beginning to see why NLP is such a game changer for communication. It's like having a cheat sheet for understanding how people process information.
And here's another layer to this. NLP calls the sensory system we use to first access information our lead system. So if you ask someone to remember a birthday party, do they first see images, hear sounds, or feel sensations?
It's like their brain has a preferred entry point for memories. So recognizing these patterns in myself and others would provide valuable insights into how we think and process information.
This is fascinating.
And there's even more to uncover. We can actually identify someone's preferred representational system by paying attention to their language, specifically what NLP calls predicates.
Predicates. Okay, I need a little more explanation on this one.
Think of them as verbal clues. A visual person might say, I see what you mean. An auditory person might say, that sounds about right. And a kinesthetic person might say, that feels right to me.
It's like a secret language of the senses. I'm already listening to conversations differently, trying to pick up on those subtle clues. That's the power of NLP. It increases your awareness of the subtle ways humans communicate and provides tools to make those interactions even more effective.
This is incredible. So we've got rapport, representational systems, predicates. Are there other NLP techniques that can help us understand the inner workings of our minds?
Absolutely. One of the most fascinating is eye accessing cues.
Eye accessing cues. Now that sounds like we're getting into some serious mind-reading territory.
It's not quite mind reading, but it's close. Our eye movements actually reveal a lot about how we access information internally. For example, if you ask someone to visualize their dream house and their eyes move up and to their left, that often indicates visual construction.
So their eyes are giving us clues about how they're accessing information in their brains. We can literally see the thought process in action.
Exactly. And while there can be individual variations, understanding these general patterns can give you a deeper understanding of how someone processes information and tailors your communication to their unique style.
This is blowing my mind. It's like NLP gives us X-ray vision into the human mind. Okay, so we've been digging deep into how our minds work internally. But how do we actually use these NLP techniques to make real-world changes? Where do we even begin?
Well, let's talk about submodalities. Remember how we discussed those different representational systems? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic? Well, submodalities are like the finer tuning knobs within each system.
Okay, give me an example. How does this finer tuning work in practice?
Think about a visual memory. Now imagine you can adjust the brightness, the color, the size of that image in your mind. Can you make it bigger, smaller, more vivid, more distant.
Oh, wow, yeah. I can actually feel the difference in how that memory feels just by making those adjustments.
That's the power of submodalities. We can actually change the intensity of an experience just by tweaking these internal dials.
That's incredible. So if I have a memory that still makes me feel anxious, I could potentially lessen that anxiety by adjusting those submodalities.
Exactly. You could try making the image smaller, dimmer, further away. Or if it's more of a feeling, maybe you can change the location of the sensation in your body or even shift the temperature or pressure.
This is revolutionary. It's like having the power to remaster your own memories. No wonder NLP is so effective for personal transformation.
It's true. And speaking of transformation, let's talk about a technique called anchoring. Think of a time when a specific song immediately transported you back to a particular memory, and those associated feelings came flooding back.
Oh, all the time. Music is such a powerful trigger for me. Just the other day, an old song came on, and I was instantly back in high school feeling all those teenage emotions.
Exactly. That song acted as an anchor, a trigger for that emotional state. And the amazing thing is, we can intentionally set anchors to access resourceful states whenever we need them.
So I could create an anchor for confidence, for focus, even for calmness.
Exactly. It's about associating a specific touch, a word, or even a gesture with that peak state. Then when you need to access that state, you simply fire that anchor.
Okay, I'm definitely adding learn how to set anchors to my to-do list.
It's a game changer. And speaking of games, NLP actually draws a lot of inspiration from the world of games and play.
Really? Tell me more about that. I love games.
Well, in many ways, life itself is like a game.
Yeah.
There are rules, strategies, outcomes.
Yeah.
And just like in a game in life, we can choose to be more skillful players.
So NLP is like a strategy guide for the game of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It helps us understand the rules of the game, identify our strengths and weaknesses, and develop winning strategies for achieving our goals.
That's such a great analogy. Okay, so we've talked about some really powerful tools for understanding how our minds work and how to make changes. But I'm curious, how does NLP address those deeper, often unconscious beliefs that can sometimes hold us back?
That's where things get really interesting. One of the core tenets of NLP is that our beliefs shape our reality. They act as filters, influencing our perceptions, our actions, and ultimately our results.
So if I believe I can achieve something, I'm much more likely to actually achieve it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the self-fulfilling prophecy in action. But the flip side is also true. Limiting beliefs can sabotage our best efforts.
That makes sense. But how do we even begin to identify those limiting beliefs, especially when they're often operating below our conscious awareness?
NLP offers a powerful technique called change personal history, which can help us reevaluate and neutralize the emotional charge of past negative experiences.
So not changing the past, but changing how we relate to it.
Exactly. It's about reframing those experiences, bringing in new resources, understanding to shift those old limiting beliefs.
I love that. So we're not stuck with the stories we tell ourselves about our past. We can actually rewrite those narratives.
Exactly. And when we change the story, we change the belief, and that can have a profound impact on our present and future.
This is incredibly empowering. I'm starting to see how NLP isn't just about learning techniques. It's about embarking on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
It's a lifelong journey. And one of the most rewarding aspects of that journey is discovering your unique learning style. NLP recognizes that we all learn differently, and understanding how you learn best can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. I've always felt more engaged when I can see visual representations of information, which makes sense given what we've been talking about with representational systems.
Exactly. You're likely a visual learner. Others might be more auditory or kinesthetic. NLP provides a framework for identifying your preferred learning style and then adapting your approach to maximize your learning potential.
This is making me think about how many people struggle with procrastination or finding the motivation to achieve their goals. Could NLP offer strategies for those challenges as well?
Absolutely. NLP is all about taking control of your mental and emotional states, and that includes finding the motivation to take action. One powerful technique for this is called future pacing.
Future pacing. Okay, you're going to have to explain this one. It sounds like time travel.
It's kind of like mental time travel. Future pacing involves vividly imagining yourself achieving your goal, experiencing all the positive feelings and benefits associated with that success.
So it's about creating a compelling vision of the future, feeling it as if it's happening now.
Precisely. By engaging your senses, emotions, and imagination, you create a powerful pull towards your goal, making it feel more real and achievable.
That's amazing. So it's not just about thinking about your goals, it's about feeling them, experiencing them in your mind's eye.
Exactly. And the more vividly you can create that experience, the more motivated you'll feel to take action. It's like giving your subconscious mind a sneak peek of the amazing future that awaits.
I love that. It's like giving your brain a taste of victory before it even happens.
Precisely. And speaking of victories, let's talk about how NLP can help us overcome those inevitable setbacks and challenges that life throws our way.
Oh, those are always lurking around the corner.
Yeah.
How does NLP equip us to handle those curveballs?
Well, one of the most valuable aspects of NLP is that it encourages us to adopt a more flexible and resourceful mindset. It's about recognizing that challenges are a natural part of life. It's not about avoiding them, but about learning how to navigate them effectively.
So it's less about what went wrong and more about what can I learn from this and how can I use this experience to grow?
Exactly. NLP provides tools for reframing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth.
Okay, I'm all about turning those lemons into lemonade. What are some of those NLP tools for reframing?
One powerful technique is called content reframing, which involves shifting your perspective on the situation. It's about asking yourself, what's another way of looking at this? Or what's positive or valuable about this situation that I'm not seeing?
So if I'm feeling stressed about a deadline at work, I might ask myself, what are the potential benefits of completing this project successfully? Or maybe, what new skills am I developing through this challenging experience?
Exactly. By reframing the situation, you can shift your emotional state and access more resourceful states like motivation, creativity, or even excitement.
It's amazing how much power our perspective has over our experience. I'm starting to see how NLP can be used to transform not only our internal world, but also our external reality.
Absolutely. And speaking of external reality, let's talk about how NLP can be applied to one of the most important aspects of our lives, our relationships.
Relationships can be both incredibly rewarding and incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
How can NLP help us navigate the complexities of human connection?
Well, at its core, NLP is all about communication, understanding how we communicate with ourselves and with others. And nowhere is effective communication more important than in our relationships.
That makes sense. We've already talked about rapport mirroring and matching and active listening, but how do these NLP tools play out in the context of our closest relationships?
Well, one of the most valuable aspects of NLP is that it teaches us to be more aware of our own communication patterns and how those patterns might be impacting our relationships.
So we can start to see where we might be accidentally sending mixed messages, or maybe not showing up as our best selves.
Exactly. For example, have you ever felt like you're constantly repeating yourself in a relationship, but the other person just doesn't seem to get it?
Oh, all the time. It can be so frustrating.
It definitely can be. NLP would suggest that you might be speaking a different language than the other person.
Yeah.
Remember those representational systems? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic?
Right? We all have a dominant system that shapes how we process information.
Exactly. So if you're primarily visual and you're trying to connect with someone who's primarily kinesthetic, you might need to adjust your communication style to speak their language.
So instead of saying, "Don't you see what I mean?" to my partner who's always talking about how things feel, I might try saying, "Can you get a sense of what I'm feeling here?"
Exactly. By speaking their sensory language, you're more likely to create that deep sense of understanding and connection.
That's so helpful. It's like NLP is giving us the tools to decode those relationship misunderstandings that can drive us crazy.
It's true. NLP can be a game changer for communication in all areas of life, but especially in our closest relationships.
This is making me think about how many conflicts arise, because we often jump to conclusions about the other person's intentions. We think we know what they're thinking or feeling, and we react accordingly, often creating more distance and misunderstanding.
You've hit on a crucial point. One of the most powerful things NLP teaches us is the importance of not assuming we know what the other person is thinking or feeling. Instead, it encourages us to check our assumptions and ask clarifying questions.
So rather than saying, "You're obviously not listening to me," I might say, "I'm getting the sense that I might not be explaining this clearly. Can you help me understand what's not making sense?"
Exactly. By checking your assumptions and seeking to understand their perspective, you create a space for open and honest communication.
That's so much more productive than just lobbing accusations back and forth.
Absolutely. And remember those submodalities we talked about earlier? Those can also play a role in our relationships.
Okay, refresh my memory on that one. How do submodalities come into play?
Well, think about how you represent someone you love in your mind. Is the image big and bright, or is it small and dim? Is it close or far away?
That's interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it, the images of people I feel closest to are definitely more vivid and closer.
Exactly. And while we don't want to go around manipulating people's submodalities, understanding how they work can give us insights into our own internal representations and how they might be affecting our relationships.
So if I'm feeling disconnected from my partner, it might be helpful to examine how I'm representing them internally. Maybe I've unconsciously distanced myself in my mind, and that's affecting how I'm showing up in the relationship.
That's a great insight. NLP gives us the tools to become aware of those unconscious patterns and make conscious choices about how we want to experience our relationships.
This is powerful stuff. It's like NLP is giving us a whole new language for understanding ourselves and our relationships.
It's true. NLP is like a toolkit for the mind, giving us the power to create the relationships and the life we truly desire.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of NLP. I feel like my brain has been stretched in all the best ways.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of NLP. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and tools that you can start applying to your own life. Remember, this is just the beginning of your NLP journey. There's a whole universe of knowledge and possibility out there waiting to be explored. So stay curious, keep learning, and most importantly, keep unlocking your potential.
We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a spark of inspiration. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and check back for more episodes as we dive into new worlds of thought, one book at a time. Until then, keep your mind set in stone and your curiosity open. This has been a Big L Riz Media podcast, where big ideas meet lasting impressions.